This is the situation now. Hundreds of machines have stopped working. There are no orders. All of them have stopped working.
I am really going crazy. I went to college in vain. I studied for more than 10 years in vain. I have gained nothing except wasting my parents' hard-earned money and my youth. What can I do after going to school? What can I do after taking the doctoral exam and the postgraduate exam? I can't even find a job. I used to be like most people, thinking that studying hard would give me a good future. Now I have nothing, no money, and I am completely defeated. I really don't know where the future is. I am really going crazy.
As the Sino-US trade war continues to heat up, China's foreign trade companies are facing unprecedented challenges. A large backlog of goods and a sharp drop in overseas orders have forced many companies to choose to stop work or shorten working hours after the May 1st holiday. Experts pointed out that if high tariffs are maintained for a long time, China may face large-scale corporate closures and bankruptcies, and then a wave of unemployment. The situation in first-tier cities like Guangzhou and Shenzhen is not optimistic. Let's talk about this topic today. If I tell you the real situation in Guangzhou, you may not believe it. Now, many central enterprises, state-owned enterprises, and public institutions, such as a certain group, have not been able to pay wages for half a year, and layoffs are also messy. Some people want to leave, but they are afraid that they can't find a job outside, and if they don't leave, they won't get paid. Those who are used to staying in the system can't adapt to the pace of private enterprises at all. Don't look at the shiny office buildings in Zhujiang Newtown. Many of them are empty or they are shared workstations. Starbucks and McDonald's are crowded with middle-aged people pretending to go to work, sitting with their computers for most of the day. We have been running a grocery store in Guangzhou for 7 years to support a family of 4. In 2025, we don't know how to make a living. We transferred our grocery store to a village in Baiyun district for 30,000 yuan 7 years ago. When we took over a few years ago, we really didn't expect such a small store to support a family. At that time, my husband was still working, and I took care of the store with my children. Although we don't have a mortgage or car loan, maintaining the annual rent of 80,000 yuan is the biggest problem we face. So the old man became more and more motivated and simply quit his job, guarding from 1 or 2 in the morning to 3 or 4 in the morning. Life is like this. It won't make people unable to survive, but it won't let people live too well. The blogger said that the current economy has changed dramatically compared to the past. The daily turnover used to be 5,000 or 6,000, but now it is only a bit more than 2,000. In order to maintain the annual rent of 80,000, their family tries to save as much as possible in life. The old man said that after doing business for so many years, he never thought that he would have to go out to work, and opening a store has become a sideline.
Can ordinary people like us really make it in Guangzhou? I have been completely eliminated by society. This is my recent thought because this is the 8th month of my unemployment. I was actively unemployed in the early stage, and now I'm passively unemployed. I have read the recruitment software to pieces and can't find a job anymore. I haven't made an appointment for an interview tomorrow.
She said that now that the tariff war between China and the United States has started, some companies will be under great pressure, especially in Shenzhen, where foreign trade accounts for a large proportion, and many companies have some foreign trade business to a certain extent, so she thinks it will be more difficult to find a job in the future. This blogger lost her job, and she thought about everyone talking about low-cost entrepreneurship, so she wondered if she could set up a stall to sell some goods. She drove around the county to see if there was any place to set up a stall and happened to see an old man driving a tricycle to sell cold noodles. Later, the urban management came and said that stalls were not allowed there. The old man drove the tricycle in front, and the urban management chased behind. The blogger said, "That picture deeply stimulated me." 2 days later, I went to Yintai City, 5 kilometers away from my home, to see if there were any good jobs selling clothes or gold. I immediately left the food place on the first floor, and there were no people in the other places selling gold and clothes. Every shopping guide kept the same posture, standing at the door, looking into the distance, looking around. There was a phone number on the recruitment information, but I didn't make a call and returned to the car in despair. One day later, I wondered what I was going to do. So I drove to the vegetable market in our county and asked the management department of the vegetable market. I asked, "Uncle, how do you rent a stall in this vegetable market?" The uncle said,
We don't have any seats now. They're all full. If you want to come and do it, we will have a tender in June, so you can come and have a look.
With a curious attitude, I asked, "Uncle, how much does a stall here cost per year?" He said that the stall depends on the specific location. A better location ranges from hundreds of thousands to 200,000, and there are also 300,000, and a slightly remote location ranges from 40,000 to 60,000. I thought about it for a moment. This is not a low-cost startup. In my opinion, the vegetable market is something you can enter whenever you want, and you can pay a few hundred yuan in rent a month. I thought it was too simple. It's been half a year. Is my husband the only one still unemployed? We were both feeling low today. Just 2 days ago, it seemed like he was close to getting a job. Both the technical team and HR said yes. HR even added him on WeChat and sent the company profile. We thought he was in. Then HR told him to wait and prepared a report. But in the end, the leader vetoed it.
30岁失业23天，在家躺平。
I'm 30 years old, unemployed for 23 days, and I've been lying at home for 23 days. Once you experience not working, you really don't want to go back. But for someone like me who doesn't have a husband to support her, I still have to rely on my own labor to survive. Fortunately, I'm alone. As long as I'm full, no one else goes hungry, so it's easier to get by. It's not that I don't want to find a job, but I've been struggling with what to do, yet I haven't decided. I feel that in today's environment, nothing is easy to do. I want to make a change, but I'm overthinking. Working is stable, but I no longer want to be an office worker living day by day. That's why I've been staying at home for more than 10 days. It's really comforting to stay at home without working. I don't have to worry about food and drink, and I still have enough savings. But I can't rely on my parents at this age. Some time ago, my sister came up with an idea for me. Before I find a job I really like, I can try setting up a stall to sell breakfast and make sandwiches. If I can keep going, I could add soy milk and more. While doing this, I can think more about my direction. At least I'll be doing something, earning some money, and, most importantly, not constantly sinking into anxiety.
说出来可能挺丢人的。
It's embarrassing. I graduated 2 years ago, saved nothing, and fell tens of thousands into debt. I was scammed by an agent, fired after 3 days, and lost money to a pyramid scheme. At my lowest, I ate expired rice balls and hid from the store clerk. Now I'm too numb to even say the word miserable. Last month, my mom called asking how I was doing. I stared at the ceiling and lied, "I'm fine." The truth is, I've been unemployed for 9 months. The worst part? I don't even know what I want to do. I think about going home, but there's a voice in my head yelling, "Hold on, prove yourself." Yesterday, I didn't eat again. I lay there and cried, not from hunger, but from the hunger for hope. Many graduates are unemployed. No job, no hope.
Expert. This silent fall is the most terrifying, like a virus spreading. Regarding whether there will be more factory closures in the future, David Huang believes that it is better to say that it is a collapse one after another, rather than a closure wave. He explained that many factories did not officially go bankrupt but chose to stop production, lay off employees, or start work at a low frequency, entering a half-dead state. This phenomenon is often overlooked in official statistics because companies may still retain their registration and house numbers, but have already laid off a large number of employees or stopped working. This silent collapse is the most terrifying, like a silent virus spreading. David Huang warned that this hidden crisis lacks obvious signals and is difficult to prevent, but it may continue to spread in the real economy. Small and medium-sized private enterprises are particularly vulnerable, and under the dual pressure of high tariffs and shrinking domestic demand, they have almost no way out. The 3 lifelines of China's economy. David Huang pointed out in an interview that China's economy currently relies on 3 pillars to cope with external pressure. Real estate market. Although China's real estate industry is in deep crisis, with property market transaction volume and housing prices continuing to decline, Some projects still bring limited cash flow. Local governments are barely able to maintain operations through land transfers and debt restructuring. Local debt extension. Local government debt is huge, and interest payment pressure is increasing. David Huang said that China has postponed debt repayment pressure to the future through debt extension in exchange for short-term stability. However, this strategy may accumulate greater risks. Export adjustment. As the demand for high value-added products in the U.S. market has dropped sharply, China has turned to increase exports to low value-added markets in Asia and Africa, while seeking to expand trade with Europe. However, French Prime Minister François Bayrou recently said that Communist China cannot replace the United States. David Huang emphasized that China's political and economic system provides it with short-term stress resistance. Unlike Western elected governments, China's centralized system can quickly allocate resources, its banking and financial systems are highly controlled, and its policy implementation is strong. In addition, information closure has limited the domestic public's understanding of the external environment to a certain extent, reducing the risk of social unrest. However, he warned that the fundamental problem of China's economy lies in endogenous defects, insufficient innovation capabilities, institutional rigidity, and policy directional deviations have led to a gradual decline in economic vitality. The national system is efficient in certain circumstances, but it is also prone to directional errors and is difficult to self-correct, said David Huang. U.S.-China tariff war, from trade disputes to conflicts of values. Since the outbreak of the U.S.-China tariff war in 2018, there has been no sign of easing. David Huang believes that this conflict has gone beyond the scope of traditional trade disputes and has evolved into a comprehensive collision of two value systems, economic models, and legal systems. The global supply chain has also moved from integration to separate governance. The goal of the United States is not only to impose tariffs, but also to build a new supply chain system based on universal values and a common legal framework. The United States is not seeking simple negotiations, but aims to reshape the global economic and political structure, David Huang analyzed. Whether the U.S. leader is Trump or Biden, the core goal of the tariff policy toward China is the same, requiring the Chinese Communist Party to follow internationally accepted values and rules. Otherwise, it may face marginalization. The only difference is that Biden tends to unite allies to exert pressure together, while Trump is more inclined to unilateralism and strongly demands that other countries take sides. The future of China's manufacturing industry, challenges and solutions. In the face of the long-term trend of the U.S.-China tariff war, what is the way out for China's manufacturing industry? David Huang pointed out that small and medium-sized private enterprises need to accelerate transformation and explore opportunities in the domestic demand market or emerging markets. However, high tariffs, supply chain reconstruction, and global economic uncertainty make this transformation challenging. The suspension of production at Dongguan's large factories is just the tip of the iceberg. If they cannot respond effectively, more companies may face the dilemma of silent collapse. The continued escalation of the U.S.-China tariff war has brought unprecedented challenges to the Chinese economy. Faced with the multiple pressures of shrinking export markets, weak domestic demand, and the hollowing out of industries, China needs to find a balance between economic reform and political stability. However, as David Huang said, the inherent contradictions of the CCP system may make this transformation process full of uncertainty. In the future, whether the Chinese economy can successfully cope with the impact of the tariff war remains to be seen.